Hi, this is Katie. This is a pretty rough camera setup since I have moved and I can't figure out the best way to set it up. I think I'm going to install some shelves in the end and maybe get a camera mount for that. But I have a camera, it's up on a few boxes and a little tripod, and this works. So this video will be unedited, mostly because I don't have the patience to learn how to edit a video or do it. So I'm going to walk you through a card that I've actually made several of just because I liked it so much. I actually ended up making more. And since I have some things packed up still, I can't find any of those, but you will see what it looks like in the end. So I'm going to be using some of the polka dot. I think it's got the word stone in it. I'm not going to know what the papers are called. Some of this gray and white polka dot stone colored paper from Papertrey ink. I will be using the butterfly dies from Papertrey ink too. We're going to be using the full one and then the little outline guy here. And I'm actually going to see if I can get some more light. Sorry. On this end. Hopefully that will look a little better. Then we're actually going to be using some kind of a magenta paper. It looks really, really cute with the yellow and white. The magenta is what we're going to cut the solid butterfly out of. And then we're going to do the yellow polka dot for this one. And then that lays over it and it looks really cute. And then also I'm going to be using a border die from Pretty Pink Posh, who's actually local to me. So it's kind of cool. I like how popular she's becoming. This is the stitched border dies. And this is just the kind of the rounded one. There are a couple others as well in the 3-pack, and also a stamp set from Reverse Confetti, and I really like this one. It's called You Make Me Smile. They put their titles in there, and we're going to be using this sentiment right here. Okay, so the first thing I have is I cut an 8.5 by 11 paper long ways. I cut it to 4 1/4 wide. I'm actually going to move some of my paper out of the way. I'm actually going to grab my scoreboard here and just score it halfway at 5.5. And I usually do it a couple times just because the cardstock I use, the white cardstock, is the, I think it's called Stampers Select. It's from Papertrey ink. I think it's like 120-pound cardstock. I just really like heavier cards. I don't like it to not be able to stand on its own, if that makes sense. And then I have a Martha Stewart bone folder. And I'm going to go ahead and fold it. And I usually like to line it up a little bit too before I crease it. And then the stone polka dot paper from Papertrey ink is going to go on top. And it's actually going to come down. And then that U die, I'm going to cut it off. So it's actually going to come down to about here with that die. So what I want to do is cut this to 4 1/4 wide as well. And I'm going to grab my Fiskars cutting board. And I have the one, it has this little extension that comes out, so when you need to measure longer. It's got the rotary blade, so that round blade. And I don't see a lot of crafters using that. I'm actually surprised because I prefer it, but maybe they just don't have the need to upgrade. And some people like that one that has the wire, so you can kind of gauge where it's going to cut. But I have a cut line I've used so many times, so I know where it's going to cut, just because it's gouged this strip so much, which is a replaceable strip once you beat it up a lot. So that's not a problem. I actually have a couple backups of those. And then I actually forgot, I'm going to pre-cut it again to about where I want it to come down on the card. So I'm going to kind of look kind of how far I want it down on the card. And I think I'm going to do at about, I think it's 3 3/4. That was good on the last one, if I remember. So I'm going to trim that down for the card. Then I'm going to go ahead and actually die cut it now. So I'll get my Big Shot. And I think this looks a little bit better if I go sideways. So I'm going to put this down put the die down. Just kind of make it even. Center it on your pad if you want to. Make the die kind of go from edge to edge on your cutting plate. And then we're just going to go ahead and run that through. Okay. So then I've got the two pieces. I'm just going to toss that piece here. And if this will zoom in, I've got that dashed edge now. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put the big shot back. And the first thing I actually want to do is stamp the sentiment because it's going to go along the bottom, right below where that curve is going to stop. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out and put it on a block. And I usually like to, hopefully this is not auto-focusing too much, I usually like to set it down and then pick up the stamp, just so I know the stamp is straight and I haven't bent it or anything like that. And I'm going to actually use the VersaFine ink because it has a much bolder image, more than the Memento Tuxedo. Memento Tuxedo is more for images that you want to color in with Copics, so it won't bleed. The VersaFine definitely will bleed if you were to color right over it. I've actually done okay with some images where I just was very, very careful to color in the lines and not touch the black at all. And you can color that way. So if you do have an image that has a lot of solid areas and you want to make sure it's black, like very black, or yeah, then you just want to be careful to color in the right areas and not go over it. But and don't touch it for a while. You want to let it dry. But I won't need to touch it for any reason, so I'm okay. But you can smear it if you do touch it. I learned that the hard way a couple times, actually. So then I'm actually going to take this one. I'm going to pop it up just right up to the top there. I'm going to pop it up on some foam. And I actually have the 3M foam tape roll. And actually just get it off of Amazon. I try to buy it when it's relatively cheap. But I do use it in abundance. I am not sparing with my products, which is probably why I buy so many of them. I'll go ahead and say that's the reason. And I don't want anything on here to sag. When you store a card under other cards, or if you just have it for a while, some areas of the card, if I were to maybe not put any in the middle here, it might end up sagging in the middle, or if you don't support a side, it could end up sagging on the card. So I just want to avoid that. And then these ones here, I'll try and angle along the curve as well. And try not to go over the edge so it doesn't show. So I'll just snip that off. Okay. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and peel those off. If you have lots of little ones, it can be kind of annoying to do, but I like making cards, so I don't mind a little bit of the work here. Then I'm gonna actually go ahead and line it up with the top there. Make sure that it matches up on the other side and put it down. Okay, so we've got this, the card base pretty much, and you can see there's a little space in there with our foam, so it's raised up. So we have that part. Then I'm going to take the magenta with the butterfly, and I usually just cut out the section that I need. I'm not very, again, I use everything in abundance. I'm not too careful with my paper. This is just gonna go in the bigger scrap pile. And then I'm gonna go ahead and run that through. So we have our magenta bottom for the butterfly. Okay, and the butterfly antlers, tentacles, I don't know what they're called. What are those little antenna? Anyway, just be careful with those because they do bend pretty easily. So I'm gonna take that little pink guy out. Then we're going to take our yellow and I'm going to cut out for the butterfly with the spaces in the middle. So his little butterfly outline. Cut a piece out for that and go ahead and stick this one through the Big Shot. Set the Big Shot to the side. This one, oops, should come out pretty easily. You just want to be careful, like I said, with the little antenna. Seriously, do not know what those are called. It's probably not a good thing. And sometimes I'll just take a pair of tweezers and kind of just open them up, but sneak under and just kind of lift it a little bit, and then I can pull it the rest of the way. I just want to be careful. The back of the yellow pattern paper is actually pretty cute too. It might look really good on like a floral card or something like that. But we're going to use the yellow and white polka dot. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, just because I'm using the Zots, these little glue dots for the yellow part, I'm just going to go ahead and use it for the magenta part anyway. When I use these, I just put down the piece that I need a Zot on, and just kind of pick it up off of the strip, if that makes sense. So I'm really just going to do the 4 corners on this one, and I'm going to go ahead and offset the butterfly a little bit, just like that. So I've got him stuck down. Then we're going to take the yellow one, and I really just do this in the middle for this one actually, because I want the wings to come up a little bit. So we're going to just put 2 in the middle. Make sure I don't hurt his little ears. And then just line that up over the pink, really on one side, and then you can just kind of stick it down. Okay, so then we have the little wings that are going to pop up. And you can kind of bend them a little bit if you want them to pop up a little more. So you can see they're raised a little bit. And that is actually the card. So this is just one of my favorite ones that I made. I think before I actually made this a little bit longer, so I was probably wrong. I think that was actually a 4-inch, not 3 3/4. So I would measure it to a 4-inch and then cut this as close to the end as you can get, and that would make a little more sense to come a little lower, but it still looks good. So there you have it. Relatively easy, very cute, bright, summery card. And kind of this, with this sentiment, you can use it really for any reason. So sometimes I like to just stick cards in the mail to give someone some fun mail that isn't bills or junk. And this would be a good card for that. So thank you for watching.